We'll edit it all. It's all good.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Beth Harrison. I'm Digital Experiences Director for the Dalí Museum. I've been with the museum, it'll be 2 years in September. So I'm somewhat new and actually new to the museum space. My background has been primarily on advanced technology in the TV and film arena. I am a graduate of ITP, so shout out to all you ITPers out there, and as well as my co-presenter, Shan, who I will let present. Tell us about you, Shan.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shan. I am a creative technologist at Goodby Silverstein Partners. So we are an internal innovative group, and Goodby Silverstein Partner is an design agency. So we have like a long time partnership with the Dali Museum, and yeah, we have a lot of awesome works.
Okay, so we thought we'd start off with some background information about the Dali and our namesake Salvador Dalí, then sort of delve into what we've done by sharing some of the experiences that our companies have created together. And after that, Shan will focus on the how we've done them by sharing some tech and design perspectives, including a live demo. The Dali Museum is based in St. Petersburg, Florida, opened its doors in 1982, and houses the largest collection of Salvador Dalí's work outside of Spain. The museum cares for and shares an expertly curated collection of Salvador Dalí's work, preserving his legacy for generations to come. Salvador Dalí was a master storyteller, constantly innovating and pushing the boundaries of perception. At the museum, we also see ourselves as storytellers, and in my role, I help the museum blend art and technology to tell stories about Dalí's life and work, creating unforgettable experiences as a result. When it comes to digital technologies within our museum, all roads lead to Dalí. Dalí was more than an artist, he was a visionary, constantly exploring the nexus of art, science, and technology. His work with 3D holograms is a testament to his pioneering spirit in embracing new mediums. His curious mind and technical virtuosity led him to explore various domains: sculpture, printmaking, fashion, writing, and filmmaking. This diversity showcases the breadth of his creativity and innovative approach. His career was marked by collaborations with other pioneering figures such as Alfred Hitchcock, Walt Disney, and fashion icons like Elsa Schiaparelli and Coco Chanel. These partnerships across different fields demonstrate Dalí's ability to blend art with new ideas and technologies. And his love for science, which began at a very young age, deeply influenced his work, from his early adoption of Freud's psychoanalysis depicted in surreal dreamscapes to post-World War II paintings imbued with atomic mysticism and spirituality. His fascination with DNA's double helix and mathematical concepts like the golden ratio is evident in his later works, where he blended biological motifs and geometric concepts, moving beyond surrealism to a unique fusion of science and art. One could say that Salvador Dalí was the quintessential STEAM figure of his era. His legacy as an artist, innovator, and collaborator guides every digital story we tell, allowing visitors to experience his art in a manner as dynamic and imaginative as his life and work. Since 2014, the Dalí Museum has been at the forefront of technology, blending art with cutting-edge tech. As storytellers, we don't chase technology, rather we identify the stories we wish to tell and find the best tools to tell them. Our digital initiatives range from interactive exhibits and augmented reality tours to immersive installations and virtual reality explorations, each crafted to enhance and reimagine the visitor's journey through art. Many of these experiences have been created in collaboration with our agency, Goodby Silverstein Partners, with Shan responsible for the interactive design and development of many. Through these pioneering approaches, we not only engage our visitors on a deeper level, but also open new avenues for learning and appreciating art in the digital age. And as we continue to push the boundaries of what's possible, we stay true to our mission of keeping art and innovation intertwined, just as Dalí would have envisioned. This is one of my favorite quotes of Dalí's and speaks volumes about his strong belief in his immortality. I like to refer to this quote, especially when people ask me about our next experience, Dali Lives. Dali Lives provides museum visitors an opportunity to learn more about Salvador Dalí's life from the person who knew him best, the artist himself. The experience opened in 2019 on what would have been Dalí's 115th birthday, allowing visitors to interact with an engaging, lifelike Salvador Dalí on a series of screens throughout the museum. Dali Lives brings the artist back to life, aligning perfectly with his focus on immortality. At the time of its launch, it represented a technological leap in how we integrate Dalí's presence into the museum, an evolving goal of ours. Here's a behind-the-scenes look at the experience.
Greetings. I am Salvador Felipe Jacinto Dalí y Domenech, and I am back.
Even though Dali's been gone for 30 years, we're using artificial intelligence to bring him back today. In order to actually train this AI to reproduce Dali's likeness, we've started with finding the right footage of Dali, and then we split that up into frames where he's looking the right way, and we pick the best frames to use for training from that. Our system learns exactly what he looks like and how his mouth moves and how his eyes move and his eyebrows and every little detail about what makes Dali Dali.
This is actually a recreated version of Dali. It's not a person playing Dali with makeup. It is actually Dali. We're very careful to use his words so that you learn a lot about what he thought and the way he thought.
People want access to art. They want a way in. It can be through technology, through learning about the artist.
Greetings. Welcome.
This technology allows people to imagine for a moment that there is such a thing as immortality, to see Dali alive again.
The whole future of Dalí is explained in the brother painting.
I saw Dalí, but like his actual form, full figure, speaking personally to me.
Dalí often referred to his paintings as dream photographs, born from his subconscious. Last year, as part of our Shape of Dreams exhibition, which looked at 5 centuries of dream visualizations through paintings, the museum launched the Dream Tapestry, which answered our question, how could we enable our visitors the opportunity to visualize their dreams? Here's a quick look.
At the Dali Museum, we take Salvador Dali's own interest in science and technology to revolutionize the museum experience. To make his paintings, Dali invented a way of waking himself from his dreams and then drawing what had passed through his mind. We wondered How can we give people direct access to their dreams like this? Wouldn't that be inspiring?
The Dream Tapestry is a new interactive experience that creates fine art pieces from the museum visitors' dreams. To be able to do that, we brought OpenAI's Dalí to the Dalí Museum.
Dali is an artificial intelligence model that takes text and turns it into an image. And these images are not images that have ever existed before. The Dream Tapestry is the first Dali-enabled exhibit in a museum. And we're so excited about it because it's going to be a debut of how Dali can really enhance all types of people's creativity.
The Dream Tapestry's artificial intelligence has a stylistic learning and understanding. So when we create each dream painting, we are doing so based on a selection of art styles.
A dream painting is a representation of your dream that you're going to create using AI. The dream painting is shown here on one of the easels. And the Dream Tapestry combines 6 different dream paintings together to create one big seamless representation of our dreams. What's really special about it is that the Dream Tapestry not only visualizes a remembered or imagined dream in a particular artistic style, it joins the dreams of 6 different visitors together. And it can give us a collective image of what we're dreaming as a country at that particular moment in time.
We give each visitor a sense of increased empowerment, as though they had touched something essential and new in their life.
To date, we've had over 57,000 visitor dream images and 12,000 dream tapestries, which have been visualized through this initiative. The Dream Tapestry not only reflects our commitment to engaging visitors in the artistic process, but also demonstrates the innovative use of AI in art, resonating with Dali's own explorations of the subconscious and dreamscapes. We're currently running a smaller version of the Dream Tapestry experience in the museum, and it remains very popular with our visitors. Ask Dali. Last month, we launched a new experience called Ask Dali, which uses various machine learning platforms and allows our visitors to converse with a recreated Dali through a user interface older than even Salvador Dalí himself, a rotary telephone. Here is Shan, hard at work at the museum. I bet she never imagined she would be bringing the lobster phone to life. Here's a quick look at the experience, and then I will turn it over to Shan to focus on sort of how we created these things, and then she's going to do a live demo of Ask Dali. So if you have any questions that you might want to ask, you can put it in the chat.
For years, people have attempted to understand my work, trying to find meaning in the surreal, to make sense of the dreams of a historic genius. But how can anyone possibly know what is inside the burning mind of Salvador Dalí? No, they simply cannot. They are mere mortal human beings. But now, I can tell you. Introducing Ask Dali, an audio experience powered by AI and machine learning that allows you to talk to me. Hi, I'm Salvador Dalí, and you can ask me anything. Just pick up my lobster phone.
Why are the clocks melting?
My dear questioner, think not of the clocks as merely melting. Picture them as a vast dream.
Why are the elephant's legs so thin?
Did you really dream all those things?
What's up with your mustache?
How they brought me here is far beyond my comprehension. All I know is that they used something called a large language model in a recreation of my voice. And here I am. So next time you have a question, just ask Dali.
All right. I am going to turn it over to Shan.
Okay, let me share. Share. Okay. And slideshow. Hello, can everyone see my screen? Okay, good, good. Hello, everyone. My name is Shan. So I am a creative technologist working at Goodby Silverstein, and I was involved in all of the above projects that Beth just talked about. And now I would like to get into a little bit more details into these projects, not super technical, but just like the most memorable things along the journey. So for this Ask Dali project, Dali Lives project, where we bring the dead artist back to life. There are a lot of small things that makes Dali a very lovely character. First of all, Dali reacts to weather and time. So when it's actually raining outside, he would walk around holding an umbrella. And when it's Thursday, he tells people that museum opens late on that day. And he even points people to the restroom, you know, etc., etc. And secondly, Dali would actually take a selfie with you. And this is like one of my favorite moments with this installation, because Dali would say, before you go, would you take a picture with me? And then he like pulls out a phone, and people, there's so many, you know, like woos and wows, and it's like so unexpected. And then after that, we would upload this image to Amazon AWS, and then you can retrieve it by sending a code that you get to a certain number and retrieve your selfie with Dali. And apart from that, another, like I would call a little Easter egg for this project is that Dali reads today's newspaper. So we partner up with the local newspaper, Tampa Bay Times. And every morning we would pull the front page of Tampa Bay Times and then render new videos. So to pull this off, we have a template After Effects project, and then we wrote a Python script. So it pulls the front page and then automatically render the video every morning. So here you would see, so here you would see that Dali is actually reading different newspapers. On the left is what to know about eclipse. In the middle is something about Roe v. Wade, and on the right is I think it's something about gun sale. And then we've also like got messages from Hank Hein, the executive director of Dali Museum, because I think on that particular day, people were applauding Dali reading a newspaper saying Trump being indicted. So there's that. And for the next project, Dream Tapestry. So this project came about just around the time when the text to image is becoming a thing. So we were brainstorming on this, and then OpenAI's Dali 2 was released at that time. This Dali here, as spelled in DALLE Dali, is OpenAI's text to image model, and this name is actually a combination of Salvador Dalí and Disney's animation WALL-E. So you can see that Dali at Dali. So we chose it not just for the technology, we also chose it for the rhyme. So originally, this idea is very simple, that people input their dreams and then we draw it. Then we took this project to OpenAI, and they were very excited about it. And they showed us the outpainting feature, which was very much new at that point. So as you can see that the outpainting feature lets you expand outside of an existing image, and the AI imagines what was not there based on your prompt. So using this technology, the 6 users, 8, is it going to, okay. Based on this technology, the 6 users for each session would first create their own individual dreams, and then we put them into a checkerboard pattern, and then uses Dali to fill in all the blanks. So eventually creating this big tapestry that is that weaves everyone's creation into it. And when we took down the first version of the Dream Tapestry, we made a smaller and a permanent version of it. So instead of generating a brand new tapestry each time, we made a tapestry that is forever evolving and it's always updating itself. And so as you can see here, like the second tapestry, like the bottom part is updated, and then third image is like the top part, and then the middle part. And during the brainstorm session, we've also talked about a tapestry that's forever, say, expanding itself, or the tapestry in the form of an infinite scroll, etc., etc. So right now, even that the project is like over, it's like done, I still feel like there's so many possibilities with it, and there are many variations that can come out of it. And the last one, Ask Dali. So this is my first time working with a rotary landline phone. And the blessing and the curse of this project is that our producer found this phone in an antique store, and it looks just so beautiful. But it also scares me when I took it apart and then realized it looks like this inside, and like, what is that? And I don't know how to work with a phone like this. But what scared me even more is that actually, with the correct wiring, you can actually take this phone handset and then plug it into your computer, and then it works as a normal headset. So that means all the electronics inside both the microphone and the speakers, they are actually still functional, even though it's been around for so many decades. So although in the end, we didn't go with this phone handset because the electronics are too old and they're too fragile, it's still a magical moment for me because we made our best effort trying to give this antique phone a second life, and we're actually combining it with the latest technology. And for the software part of this project, I think it's mostly pretty straightforward. So it consists of 3 parts. First, we use assembly AI for real-time transcription. So when users talk to the phone, their voices becomes text first. And then we have a custom GPT that we trained on Dali's writing, and we instruct it to talk like Dali. And for the final step, we trained a custom voice model on 11 Labs for the final text-to-speech. So if you're not familiar with 11 Labs, they are the tool behind the Biden robocalls a few months back. So it's the same technology, and your choice on how do you want to use it. Since there are 3 steps involved for every question that users asked, so one of the biggest challenge we have is about the speed. So the last thing we want is that the users ask the question and the wait is too long, and they leave the experience because they're not sure what's happening. But you know what? On May 13th, which is like 3 days ago, OpenAI released GPT-4o, with O stands for omnichannel. So it takes not only text as input, it also takes voice, image, video, and it can output audio directly. So that means in the near future, we can probably bring down the wait time of this experience even more. What can you say? What a time to be alive. But I think what I like most about the Dali Museum projects is not that we always use the latest technology, so we're looking cool and all that. It's that I think the creatives, the ideas behind this make sense in this context, and especially for the artist, Salvador Dalí, who I believe himself is an avid experimenter with technology, and all those are the kind of projects that he would love to see if he is alive. Well, maybe he didn't die entirely anyway. So next, I think I am gonna do a live demo with the Ask Dali. And if you guys want, you can pop your questions in the chat. Let me see. Chat.
I think Darla had a question. Darla, do you want to ask the question, and Shan can ask Dali?
I would
Sorry.
just like to know what Mr. Dali's concept is of time.
Concept about time. Okay.
Yes, please.
Let me full screen.
Hi, I am
Can you
Salvador
hear it?
Dalí, and you can ask me
Okay.
anything.
Mr. Dalí, I would like to know your concept about time. Wait. Mr. Dalí, I would like to know about your concept about time.
Ah, the enigmatic mistress that is time, forever flowing like a river of molten clocks across a barren landscape. To me, time is not linear, but a melting conundrum, stretching and bending with the whims of memory and perception. It is both a relentless tyrant and an ethereal muse, sculpting our realities with invisible hands. In its embrace, we dance to the rhythm of existence, forever caught between the tangible and the surreal.
Yeah, that's how Dalí dances with the words.
Wow.
I love it. I love it. Matt, you had a question for Dalí.
Sorry, I had to find the mute button there. Just about how the process of converting his dreams into visual art.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's a hard one. Hi, Dalí. I would like to know your process about converting your dreams into visual arts.
Are dreams the canvas of our subconscious, where the absurd and the profound doth dance in eternal embrace? My process, a mysterious alchemy of the waking thoughts intertwined with the slumbering visions. I simply open the gates of my mind, letting the surreal creatures of the night frolic onto the canvas, guided by the brush in my hand, which moves with the precision of a clock, yet the unpredictability of a butterfly in a hurricane. Each stroke a whisper from the depths of dreams, materialized into the visual symphony that eyes can behold.
Hey, this is Beth. Can you hear me? I just want to say that I think Shan might be using like the first iteration because, you know, as a museum experienced folks, you probably understand, we really shortened the responses. I was concerned about the cost because, you know, again, when you're creating these kinds of things and you're paying for a, you know, per character, whatever, you just have to be cognizant of that as you try to just estimate what the usage is going to be and how popular it's going to be. So just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, so I took the long version because I think more comes out of it.
Yeah.
Is
I know
there
you guys
more?
love the long version at GSP, but I was like, can you
Yeah.
shorten it?
I love the long version too.
Do we have more questions, or I can
Oh yeah,
hand
we
it
got
back to you?
one. Utam has a question. You want to ask yourself? You want me to ask for you?
Sure. I can ask. So is your mustache really an antenna that gives you ideas from space?
Okay. Mr. Dalí, is your mustache an antenna that gives you idea from the space?
An exquisite query. My mustache, oh, it transcends mere facial hair. It is the conductor of cosmic vibration, an antenna that captures whispers from the universe, weaving them into the tapestry of my imagination. Each twist a sonnet, each curl a gateway to otherworldly inspiration. It is not merely an aesthetic choice, but my liaison with the infinite.
Okay, should we
All
stop
right,
here?
we'll do one more question and then
Okay.
all right.
Okay.
Deborah, you had a question. All right. Do you want to ask? You want me to ask? I'll ask. How did you meet Gala?
Oh,
Can it
hi,
get
Mr.
biographical?
Dalí. How
Let's
did you
see.
meet Gala?
In the tempest of the cosmos, amidst the swirling eddies of fate and chance, I, a mere architect of dreams, collided with the eternal muse, Gala. It was the year 929, a time when the surreal was the real. She a siren of sophisticated enigmas, and I, a devotee of the canvas's uncharted territories, found a convergence of souls in a ballet of the absurd. It wasn't merely a meeting. It was as if the universe conspired to unite two nebulae in a dance of stellar fusion.
Right on. I love it. Okay.
Okay,
That's
I'm
great.
gonna stop sharing and then hand it back to you, Josh.
Sure, sure.
Okay.
Okay. Well, so you know, we have a couple other questions that came up there. Beth, you saw the question from Alan, which let me
see. Where is Alan's question here?
yeah, there it was asked in a few different ways, which is like, what would Dali do? Or like, you know, I think there's some questions around this for the ethics of appropriation and, you know, extending the legacy. But yeah, let's talk about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is what we have the luxury of, is what I was trying to kind of convey in terms of his obsession with his immortality was like, that was a real thing. He was a replacement child. He had a brother who died when he was super young, who was also named Salvador. And he attributes, and folks who study Dali attribute his eccentric personality to the notion that he needed to sort of stand apart from his idolized brother who was dead. And so his brother had died, but he felt that he would live forever. And so that is one kind of caveat that is constantly on our mind whenever we are looking at what we're going to do when we use these new technologies. So I wasn't around when Dali Lives was created in 2019, but the idea that they could bring Dali back to life would be like fulfilling his dream, in our opinion. And the other thing about Dali is that he was so innovative himself, and he was always like embracing the new, you know, especially new technologies. We say, what would Dali do? You know, how would Dali feel about this? How would Dali feel about AI, the Dream Tapestry? And the consensus here is he would love it. I mean, he would become a prompt master if he was here today, and we are positive about this. He would be loving this, you know, this technology, and he would be utilizing it in new ways. So that's how we feel about bringing him back. And we also feel like, for us, like Ask Dali, you know, I mentioned that having his presence in the museum, as Hank Hein has said, it provides an emotional connection with our visitors that is more meaningful than just looking at a painting. When you can really sort of get a sense, an idea of who this person was in these different ways, does have an impact. You know, our research has shown. I mean, and for those museum folks out there, you know, you have a wide range of your demographic in terms of generations and how they experience art. You know, there are passive observers and then there are active ones. And so that's another thing that, you know, I think those of us who are in the museum industry have to, you know, who are the museum visitors in the future, and how will they be engaging with art, and what can we do to ensure that all of our visitors feel satisfied when they leave, and not only satisfied, but that they're leaving with the notion that we have changed them in some capacity in terms of introducing them to art and to this artist. So, so I think that's how we feel about bringing him back. And I think as technology evolves, we are going to look to evolve as well in terms of incorporating, bringing him back, in different forms, factors. I mean, stay tuned. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's not something that we're going to like put the brakes on. So I think, there's that. And, I just want to say about Ask Dali, Ask Dali is a perfect example of just the nature of our relationship, how we work with Goodby. They have a lab there. And they were kind of playing around with this idea of Ask Dali with these sort of chat bots and, bringing his voice or kind of recreating his voice through machine learning. So we were on a panel at South by, and it was really just to initially, it was to just have a conversation about the work that we've done together. And, the person who kind of leads the innovation lab at Goodby said, hey, we have this new thing. We want to show it to you. We think we should, maybe demo it there. And that kind of put the ball in motion for us. And it was really interesting because those of you who are in the museum field probably get who all the factions are in the museum world. So you have your curatorial team who are sort of the keepers of, everything. And then you have the digital people like myself and then the Goodby Silversteins of the world. And they're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And so when we first demoed it at South by Southwest, Martin, who's the chief technologist, who's I think Shan's boss, is he was at the conference and he felt that it was more Crazy 8 and less like docent. Like this experience, the way we were creating it and the way we saw it evolving was like more sort of entertainment, to the point where like we asked him on the stage, where's the best place to get a taco in Austin? And I can't remember his exact response, but it was really like, I don't have time for tacos because I'm creating like amazing art, which totally made sense. So that's how it started. And then we decided it was so popular with the audience there that we thought, let's bring it into the museum. Let's use the rotary phone, the lobster phone, and let's get some learnings, which is what we're doing. I mean, it launched mid-April, so it's been around for less than a month. So
it's pretty amazing. There's a lot of questions. I mean, I'm just gonna sort of interject myself in here anyway, though. What's interesting to me is like how some of the most popular artists, in the sort of the popular imagination, like like Warhol and Van Gogh and Dalí, are very, very much personalities, and people can picture them, and they have a sense of who those people are. Whereas, like, I think there are other artists, that are very, very influential, but where people don't understand them personally. So they the audiences don't have the same sort of emotional attachment to them or the work, which I think it's just I don't know if that's a question. It's just an interesting observation.
Well, I will say this, we have a immersive experience running. We built a dome and we have a projection mapped experience. And part of it is an interview with Mike Wallace. I don't know how many of you, raise your hand if you remember Mike Wallace. His interview with Dalí. And he asked him, he's like, the eccentricity, like his personality and the mustache and, his art, all of these different aspects of Dalí were like combined to create Dalí and who he was and who he wanted to be in the world. It wasn't just his paintings, it was everything else. So like having, I think, those elements of his personality within the museum, I think also he would be pleased with, because it was part of who he was and how he saw himself. So.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I love it. Let me move through some of the questions here. I have to say I've sort of lost my thread here a little bit. If there are questions that have been asked earlier on that didn't get answered, just throw them back in there. So Angelica had a question. Did you want to ask it yourself, Angelica? I'll ask it. She wanted to know, like, what was the biggest challenge with bringing the concept to life, and how did you approach it? And I guess maybe talking about like, let's go through the lens of Ask Dali. Like, what was the biggest challenge you guys faced in making that project?
Well, I think for us, I mean, and it brings me back to what I was just saying, is you understand, you know, when you work in the museum, you have these different, you know, areas of a museum. And I think at the end of the day, it's, you know, curatorial, and because people do come to the museum because they expect, you know, truth and facts. So we wanted to make sure that the language models were, you know, were using his texts. And so we had a, you know, a long list of his texts that we made sure were included. And, you know, and then it wasn't just based on that, because it's not, and we're not, you know, we are interested in maybe doing something like this, and that's having like our own docent Ask Dali chat, which is just comprised solely on everything you ever want to know about Dali. But so that was kind of a concern of everyone's here. And then also, you know, how do you kind of spin it as, you know, it's not, it's edutainment, it's more Magic 8 Ball and less docent, you know, so in our marketing of it, it's like, you know, if you have a question, please see a docent, or, you know, like, I don't remember how it was phrased, but so that was a concern of ours. And Shan, you probably had some concerns from a tech perspective or challenges.
Tech-wise, I think it's simply time. I think the timeline that we have of bringing this to life. And
it's 4 weeks, I think, right? Like 4 weeks?
4 weeks.
1 to 2 months.
Yeah.
And I think someone asked about like sign language that I saw, but I lost it. So right now we don't support sign language, but I think like it's also like the beauty of this project is like it's so simple, but also it's, you know, not as inclusive, because if we wanted to embrace the sign language, it's like you also gotta turn on the video, you know, and then read that. So right now I love the simplicity of this. Oh, and also like originally this project is like we made just a website version of this first, which is what I showed you guys. And I think it's Beth's suggestion that she's like, we have this lobster phone, and it's already like one of Dali's creation, you know, we can use it as like a physical interface. I think that's like a very like aha moment for me. So I wouldn't say a challenge. I wouldn't say it's like the biggest challenge, but I felt like we found the perfect physical interface for this project.
Yeah, I mean, I will say like, so here's the problem. Like, I don't know if you can see, but like, this was our first one, and like, hey man, the paint's chipping, it's looking a little sad. So like we had to, you know, GSP had to create another one, which we just put in on Monday, and then we're having one fabricated, a 3D printed. So because I actually came along, I would go up and observe, and I was watching this little kid just like wham, bam, bam, and I'm like, oh my God, this is not going to, you know.
I think it is like it's like at a very popular spot in the museum, and then it definitely, the experience definitely comes over time. There's so many people, like hundreds of hands like touching this phone headset every single day, and it's like beyond our imagination. And yeah, I think we're learning through this process on how we build like permanent stuff, how we build properly, how we build stuff that hundreds of people are going to touch every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very challenging for me. Yeah.
Daniel Wood had a question. Dan, you want to ask yourself?
Yeah, hi. Was just curious with the newspaper readings, if Dali remembers those, and does it like build an aggregate memory, and does it change his perspective, or kind of the foundational model that you're working on, or is it more of just a read only, and he's kind of all tightened up?
Right now it doesn't, because this is a project that was 5 years ago. So if you like, if I look at it right now, it's like showing a bit of the age, because the technology here for the face swapping can get really, really good nowadays. So that one, we made videos first, and then we do the face swap. So it's all pre-made videos. But Dali will like read the newspaper, and then you like push a button, and then he will like put down the newspaper and then like start talking to you. So, but with the new with the ChatGPT now, because it like has memories and all that, it remembers like, you know, what you can input all the like documents and all that. I think this is becoming possible if we're to make it now.
So the newspaper, the way I understand it, I mean, it's fantastic, the daily paper. I mean, how cool is that, Tampa paper? But I think it started as like a marketing opportunity for the Tampa Bay Times, you know. And again, that was what was it, 2019 we launched that. So so they still come by the museum. They're very pleased when they see it. But so been good.
Thank you.
So there were a couple questions about like AI's environmental impact. Christy, I'll let you ask this question. I would just like also just put there first that like having also done AI stuff in physical space, that the throughput of a physical environment is so much less than what you would get if you threw this stuff online. Like I think I've probably burned more ChatGPT compute in the last week than a lot of these physical experiences, just because it's you know, these are you know, even highly trafficked museums are not trafficked the way museum websites are. But I will let Christy ask the question. Christy, do you have did you want to ask your question? I guess the question was, what are the thoughts on AI's environmental impact?
That's a good question.
Sorry, I'll chime in. I'm sketching and doing all kinds of things, and and I heard my name. I was like, "What?"
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Thank you so much for calling on me. Totally. It just you know, you hear so much about, you know, the cloud space and the amount of energy it's going to take to, you know, compute all of this data, and you know, that's a real concern as far as I've been hearing. And as unbelievably mind-blowingly cool as this is, what are the concerns around that? Thank you again for calling on me.
You know, I'm going to get back to you on that because we haven't really addressed that internally in terms of what our experiences are, you know, utilizing as it relates to compute power. And, you know, my focus has been just someone who has to manage these, and I'm concerned with the cost, obviously. It's just the amount of, you know, tokens we're using. But I would, you know, that's interesting. I mean, I should look into it and get back to you. If you.
Yeah, I think like if you're asking about the environmental impact related to these like specific projects, I think it's not a lot. Like I would say Ask Dali is like a pretty light, you know, experience as of like using resource. It's definitely, you know, compared to all the crypto farms out there, we're not using that much of a resource. But if you are asking about AI's environmental impact, like generally, I think like right now, yes, they're very like hungry for, you know, all the electricity and all that, but if you think about like Moore's law, that all the computing speed can, you know, like double themselves in 18 months, like, and we can definitely, you know, improve ourselves on the efficiency, you know, on how much we can do with the same amount of electricity, and I think we can improve if in the future the whole world is highly dependent on, you know, that kind of resource.
Right. All right, Heather.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Beth.
No, Shan. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Heather. Go on.
Sure, I'll go.
I was going to let Heather ask one question. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought some other folks are curious too. As a lifelong technologist, I know that tech is not cheap, especially not new cutting edge screens, maintenance, and all that. And I'm wondering about how it's funded, and also, are you able to measure some kind of return on the investment for bringing these things to it? Or are you even under pressure to do that? Because I think I don't remember the exact structure of how the museum is operated, but I'm just curious about how do you pay for it?
So we are a nonprofit, and we do allocate funding. You know, I think it's, you know, maybe every other year, we plan to integrate some sort of digital experience, or they have, you know, so we have these winter shows, and then like with the Dream Tapestry, that was a big winter show for us. And they allocate funds for a digital experience when they're doing the budget. But I believe they do it every other year. So a lot of the things that we have now, all the things that we have now have already been done and paid for. And then how do we measure, you know, sort of the ROI around it? It's just, it's something that I know brings people to the museum. And, you know, we do a lot of user research, and, you know, as I said, we're trying to attract a broad audience. And I think we're able to do that. And it's part of the story that we tell. So I think just telling the tech story brings people in. So I think that is also a return on our investment. And I kind of looked at it like I was chatting with my manager. I was like, well, you know, how much would a painting cost if we were going to buy a Dali today, you know, one of our oil paintings? And it would be a lot more, you know, and that to me is also really interesting, because when you look at just digital art and, you know, these, you know, really beautiful digital immersive experiences, and people are like, wow, they're so expensive. Well, you know, it's cheaper probably than a Van Gogh, and you could probably do, you know, 100 of them, or a lot of them. And in some cases, you probably could charge an additional amount, you know, an upsell to cover the cost. So I think, you know, it's just how they look at it. But for us, and then also, you know, GSP, we are a nonprofit, so and they're a commercial agency, and we do get favorable rates from them. I mean, that is a given, because most museums really couldn't afford that. But you know, if there are museums out there, I would be like, hey, you know, find an agency that wants to do some cool stuff. I mean, GSP, they're like masters at commercials. You know, they do Super Bowl commercials, but they also have an innovation lab. They do some stuff with their brand clients, but the stuff that they do for us, it wins them awards, so they can then get, you know, attract their commercial work. So everything's part of the ecosystem, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. So somebody, as they're writing your 990s, is explaining how this is part of your program that furthers the mission of the nonprofit, and then GSP basically gets a tax write-off, and they get some great use cases to sell their services. Everybody wins. Perfect.
Yeah, I can't speak to their tax write-off, but yeah, everybody
probably
wins.
somewhere they're probably writing something
Well,
off. They're smart.
I would also have to imagine that as an agency owner and knowing how these things work, the fact that it happened in 2 months means that like you can move, like it's not a lot of time. So like it can't be that expensive. And I think when people are asking about like accessibility or screen readers and all these sort of like tertiary use cases, like a lot of those things actually are the things that happen when you're working on a project over like a long period of time, but it's also what balloons up the costs of a project. So that's probably also a reason that these things can, you know, get out there faster. Anyway, I didn't mean to answer that for you, Shan. Maybe I'm presuming there.
No, all good. Oh, I just wanted to say, like, from GSP's perspective, awards, yes, but also we get more we get more say on the creativity when we work with the museum, because they are very adventurous, or you know, that like, they wanted to make cool stuff, and with our clients, like real clients, a lot of frustration just comes from like you pitch something, they like it, and then they're like, no, we need to move very slowly because we had this security concern, we had this legal concern, and we pivoted our strategy, and then it's just that from there. So
yeah, I love it. So we're at time. Thank you everybody for showing up. Beth, Shan, did you want to give any sort of like quick parting words before we close up for the day?
Well, I would just say, you know, if anybody wants to reach me, it's B Harrison. I'll put it in the chat. Happy to answer any questions. I saw there were some folks on there who are interested in getting into museums. You know, yeah. So anyway, if you want to reach out.
Yeah, email Beth, email me too. I can forward any messages as well. Sorry, Beth, anything else, or Shan?
I'll put my email in the chat.
Awesome. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Beth, Shan, thank you so much. Super, super inspiring. I love what you guys are doing, creating super inspiring stuff quickly and beautifully. So thank you for everybody for joining, and hope to see you again next week. All right. See you, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, Josh. Bye-bye.